Hi, unfortunately, we couldn't make it through the YouTube channel. Let's do it, record it, and then we post it on both our American Space page and the Roof of the World Festival YouTube channel. We are really sorry for these technical issues. It's me. My name is Rangina. I'm coordinating the American Space Forum in Jubileo. You know, American Space Forum is a program of the U.S. Embassy, and we are delivering different American programs and clubs. So we are really happy to host today the Roof of the Festival at American Space Forum, and let's give the stage to them. They will continue. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Warm greetings from Forum. We're very delighted and very enjoyed your performances. Already we watched your 2 performances, but unfortunately with technical and electricity problems, we didn't actually watch all your performances. But we really enjoyed your 2 performances with very, jazzy sound, catchy melodies and funky sounds. Really enjoyed it. And now I would like to give the welcoming speech to the director of the Roof of the World Festival, someone that will go to.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you and to thank you, guys, for celebrating the 14th International Festival and the second virtual of the festival with us. We just listened your great performance, and I liked it very much, and I enjoyed it. I think everybody here enjoyed your music, and not just. I also would like to thank this embassy in Tajikistan for providing continuous support for the festival. We are at the altitude of 2,200 meters, and we really enjoy your presence, and we believe that you will find your fans here in Kharov town, and not just here in Kharov town, but also in Central Asian region. And I hope when the COVID pandemic comes to an end, we will be able to invite you to the festival, to Kharov in the coming years for live performance. And my absolute respect and thank you again.
All right, now we are in a live stream, and we have some students here, guests and colleagues of the World Festival, and we have some. I hope we'll have some very interesting discussions, interactive discussions and questions that you and us may have. So I would like now to address the audience to ask you questions, guys, about the music, maybe about the musical background. Okay, is that okay by you?
Yeah.
Excuse me, do you hear me clearly?
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to repeat the word that we already mentioned. You have a great group, and we enjoy your music. So my question is, what is the style that you are following, and like, why don't you have a singer? So this is my question.
So to answer that first before we start, thank you everybody for being here. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for having us. Thanks to the U.S. Embassy in Tajikistan. Thank you, Mahmoud. And welcome. Hello, everybody. Good morning from New York City. So the style of music we play is it's not just one, it's kind of all different styles. It reflects how we listen to music. We listen to music from all different time periods, all different styles, from Jimi Hendrix to Louis Armstrong to everything, funk, jazz, rock, hip hop. And I think that wide umbrella of music and all of our different backgrounds influences the way that we play. This concert specifically had no singer, but a lot of them recently do have singers. And so I think for us, the voice for us is our instrument, but we love collaborating with vocalists, and especially when we're on festivals and around other vocalists, that's always a very fun thing for us to do. So this concert was all instrumental. But for us, the way that we think about music is, you know, our instruments are our voices. So
and again, hello everybody, reiterating what Dan said. Thank you all so much for being here, so much for having us. I'm John. We do have like singers in the band that sing a little more in other settings. Like John Hubble, our drummer, is an amazing vocalist. It's a wonderful, low, sultry voice. And also Josh Hill, our guitar player, has played in many bands where he is singing background vocals, and every once in a while he'll step up to the mic. I do some singing in other bands, but with this band, we're mainly focused on the instruments that we play and kind of featuring a lot of friends of ours, as Dan said, that sing. We actually released a brand new album last weekend, which we feel very excited about, and we feature there are 2 tracks off of that album that feature vocalists, so you do a decent amount of that.
All right, thank you. Okay, more questions, please. What?
We Festival sent to about 4 tracks of Tajik well-known pop stars, and for you to choose, and you chose Madina Aknazarova's song, and she's great singer. And I just wanted to know, was it as a musician also? I have my music background, and I'm a lead vocal and composer of Citro Quintet. I wanted to know, was it easy to rehearse and to prepare Madina Aknazarova's song in your own way, like with some? I heard some jazz elements, and also like your brass band, you know. And was it easy to prepare it? And how did you feel? How did you feel after that? Did you learn anything from Tajik music? So anyone want to respond?
Yeah, was it easy? I think the simple answer, no. The rhythmic aspect is very, very interesting and very complex. I think we were very much at a 10% understanding of the rhythmic feel when we sent it to our drummer about a week before we played. John, if you want to speak on this, I think the first thing you said was, I wish I had this 4 months ago, because the rhythmic groupings, for the horns, it almost felt like we were playing, the downbeat was somewhere else. And so we were able to replicate, but it was very interesting. The thing that drew us to that song was the melody, and that was very much a strong element of that piece. So that was one of the reasons that we gravitated towards it. But man, yes, it was a humbling experience to study some of these rhythms, and the way that the middle triplet works with the others. That's a very complex thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Great answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, to add on that response, if we don't have any immediate other questions, it was difficult to put together. And the first time that we played it together, after we had listened to the recording a couple times, the first time that we played it together in the same room was a little rough, because at least I was very concerned with playing my own part and making sure I got the rhythms right. And my heightened attention in that area was keeping me from listening to the rest of the band in that moment. And that first play was a little uncomfortable because I wasn't listening as I should. So we took a little break and we got to practice on our own for a little while. And when we came back together, I had practiced my part well enough that I was starting to be able to hear the whole piece together and how the parts locked together. And like Dan said, it's a different rhythm than we're used to playing typically. And that means that all of the different parts lock together in different ways that we're a little unfamiliar with. So there was this beautiful process of all of a sudden realizing the ways that things lock together and starting to hear it. And all of those little realizations started to add up to the arrangement coming together and sounding more solid. But again, even though it came together and we're happy with the way it sounded, I feel like our perspective on it is just at the 10% level of what the true authentic performance could be. So we're going to keep working on it. Maybe by next year we'll we'll come perform it in person. We'll have it a little bit better.
Thank you. I hope one day it will happen. We all hope, look at this when we hope this possibility in the future.
Yes.
I really enjoy that track. I think it's, and I told actually before the stream, I told Martina also, and I talked to her mother, and I said she said she really wants to listen it. I will go later after the stream and find out what she will say. So
Please do. Yeah, we would love to hear what they say.
I'll connect Mahmoud, or then we'll let you know what she said about this. Okay.
Please. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I have another question. You know, I used to study in the United States for some time, and I used to live actually in Brooklyn. You are from Brooklyn, and on my way from school, on 34th Street in Metro, we often gathered with some other friends where some brass bands, mainly played. That was amazing music, And actually, I brought also some CD from the dramatics band play, And I was always curious, I didn't have much time to ask these guys, I want to find out something about the music life of musicians there. And I wanted to know if any one of you, if it happened for you to play in a kind of place, and what was your experience? Because I saw that some great musicians, it was something that you can't see often in this part of the world,
So you mean playing in a public space like that, like a brass band?
In a place like Metro, and where usually there are some brass bands, I don't know if they're students or they're professional musicians, And I also was, I play very well guitar, and we were talking with some guys, and I said, why don't we try to play any kind of play just to have a fun, and to make few people happy, And so
that's it. The whole point is, it doesn't matter if you're a professional or a student. The whole point is to get the people's attention and then bring them some joy and to bring it to the people. That's all you need is some people and some instruments. So for brass players, over the past year, there's definitely been a lot more playing outside, not necessarily in the metro, but you know, a little bit more outside. And that's the whole point of it, is just to give something to people and to connect with people.
Right. That's what we're also trying to do, to connect, you know, and to share our experience, you know, to learn something from each other, you know. That's really important.
Okay, yes. Yes, it's open up then.
So why is the name of the group is Huntertones? Interesting name.
This is excellent question. Why is the name of the group Huntertones? So this band, we all went through university together in the state of Ohio, which is on the East Coast, kind of like Northeast Coast area. Ohio is like almost right in the middle of the country. It is a very different everything. Like much flatter. It's, you know, the energy, things are much more spread out. But we went to a school together in Ohio called the Ohio State University. And the early days of this band, you know, we were writing music, we were playing together, but we didn't have a reputation that was such that we were able to play at a lot of venues in the city that we went to school in. So there were a couple of venues that were like, maybe we can have you play in the venue, but you don't have that many people that you're going to bring. So, you know, maybe get your fan base, be able to bring more people in before we'll actually let you come play here. So our response to that was, we are just going to throw parties at our house and invite people over. And we're going to play music at our own parties. So basically, a lot of us lived at an apartment in Ohio while we were in college, and there was a basement in this apartment, and we would just throw very big parties, invite all of our friends over, and play music in the basement. And this was kind of the beginning of how the band started to learn how to play together and how we started to build it. Now, this apartment is located on a street in Ohio called Hunter Avenue. So the name of the band, Huntertones, is kind of a nod of appreciation to our beginning days playing at house parties on that street, Hunter Avenue, Huntertones. That makes sense.
Thank you.
It's a great question.
Okay, I have a question. What group or what singer was your biggest influence in playing what you're now playing? I mean, you've already mentioned Jimi Hendrix. He was the biggest, you know, name in the rock pioneers in the rock history. And except that, who was your biggest influence in playing the music, the instrumental music? I mean, I've just noticed some elements, the jazz, of course, jazz, and some blues elements in your music. Soul music, right? But who was the biggest influence, in your opinion?
For everybody, I think for everybody it's different, right? I'm Josh. I'm the guitar player of the band. When I was growing up, I was studying classical guitar, and I was also really interested in Black American music, blues music of B.B. King and Albert King, Freddie King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, bands like Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, of course. But really, I think my my core and my center, the center ring on the tree for me would have to be blues music. Booker T and the MGs, meters. Really, there's elements. If music doesn't have the element of the blues, I don't really, something about it doesn't touch me in the same way. You know, for me, the feeling of the blues is in all my favorite things. Stevie Wonder, Sly and the Family Stone. You know, the blues is really the center of that. When I was actually, when I was 16, I played in a band with this old black guy named Bluesman Dan, and he was 70 and I was 17, and the gap there, that was kind of my education, playing with him. And really, I'm from a very, very small town of like 170 people. And meeting him when I was a child was kind of that was the way that I got into music and playing with other people. But it was also like a very different culture, and it was a way of connecting with somebody outside of my small town. So for me, he was playing, he could like play The Thrill Is Gone and, you know, Stormy Monday. And like, for me, that's my more, with him becomes more and more important as I go through life, you know. So I would say the blues is very important to myself, you know, but I'm sure different for everybody in the band. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One band for me is Earth, Wind, and Fire. That I think we all share some inspiration that comes from Earth, Wind, and Fire. And for me, when I was young, I learned how to play music in my school. When I was in middle school, I had to pick an instrument because our school had a music program, and I started playing in the orchestra, and then later on jazz band. And my jazz band director was a big fan of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So he helped us to learn some of their music, and at age when I was middle school. After that period, that I will say there at a time where I kind of stopped listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire for some reason. And a couple of years later, I kind of rediscovered them and went into their whole catalog of music with a whole different perspective and continued drawing inspiration. So Earth, Wind, and Fire is one band that was present in my musical mind very early on and planted some seeds down in my brain. And then later on, I got to rediscover them and continue drawing inspiration. I think even though Earth, Wind, and Fire is a very vocal centric band, the instrumental and musical arrangement portions of their music is completely amazing and intricate and complex, but it's all just, it all is come together in terms of this really amazing danceable funk music. So Earth, Wind, and Fire is a big one for me.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have one question. I don't have any musical background, and I'm very curious about asking, like, both you guys, which problems were you facing during the coronavirus? I mean, I know the problems which face Tajik singers, like it impacted on their finance as they couldn't organize in-person concerts, and they didn't have enough, their internet connection wasn't stable enough to organize virtual concerts. So what you guys were facing during the pandemic situation? I mean, which problems?
Be clear, what problems were we facing as musicians during the pandemic? Yeah. I think so. Some of the issues, like our identity as a band is our differences and our personalities coming together, and that expresses itself in the way that we play our rhythms, how some people pull back, some people push forward in our harmony, some people, with our intonation between the horns, and all of these things are very hard to do through the internet, and we can't play at the same time when we're in different places, and so one of the things that we did is we wrote music vertically rather than together, where one person plays one part and then we listen to that and sends it to the next person, and then the next person adds to that. And so we tried writing music that way and got into some interesting things. But I think the thing that it taught me was that our band is a live band, and that's the special thing about what we do. And so for each of us individually, sort of going back to our individual instruments and using technology to compose, and to write and to practice, this past year has been the most practicing and most time on my instrument that I've had since university. And so just trying to be patient and getting ready for when we emerged from this pandemic, which unfortunately we're not quite there yet. But I think it was trying to go more inward into my musicianship and my creativity, because unfortunately the collective, it's their goals than solutions, is separate internet. So I that's at least for me. If anybody else wants to add in.
I'll just say, from a more like wide scale, not just specific to us and our band, but more specific to the music industry and the economy of it. I think the music industry was worldwide one of the most affected, kind of, if we're looking at an overall economy. You went from having tours and concerts and hundreds to thousands to people from across the world, like millions of people going to shows per year and creating an economy of buying concert tickets for artists to get paid, but also venues where people work sound and people work lights and people work security and bartenders and restaurants that have music. Like, just all went from operating at relatively full capacity to nothing, like absolutely nothing. No concerts, no tours, no anything for a year. And it I think both economically and also psychologically has, especially at the beginning, was somewhat devastating. And it was very difficult to go from a world where concerts existed to no concerts existed for over a year. And I think all of us have kind of dealt with that in our different ways. But I think something that has been really interesting and is that a lot of musicians, ourselves included, as Dan was saying, have learned how to utilize technology to be able to create from afar, and also just different applications of technology. I mean, the fact that we are able to be communicating with you all right now is certainly amazing. And I think that the levels of this type of thing that are happening, because kind of we had to figure out, okay, well, how can we still make music and share music and connect with music, in spite of not being able to gather in person. While it has created a lot of obstacles, there have been a lot of solutions that I think that people maybe wouldn't have thought about or pursued if this obstacle was not in the way. But I think we have played our first in-person concerts with each other over the past few months here in New York, and it has been a very amazing experience to go from not playing with each other for over a year to coming back together and playing this music. And it's been very special. And just a reiteration of what Dan said, that, while we're proud of what we've been able to accomplish apart from each other, we will forever be a live band that will always enjoy making music with each other, and are hoping that we will continue to, go this way and be able to come together, and things continue to improve in the next few months, years, whatever.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Maybe you're interested in
to know more about this place.
this place, or our, musical interest. We're glad to answer your question. if you would have one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a
So-
question.
Yeah, John.
We started off by you asking us about what we learned from playing one of your songs, and Dan mentions that this triplet feel was a big part of the challenge for us, because it has a certain swing to the triplets that we are not accustomed to. That's not something that we hear very much, and there are lots of examples of this type of thing in the world. Brazil has its own type of swing, and North Africa has a certain type of swing, and obviously American jazz has a certain kind of swing. And I was thinking, I'm somewhat familiar with Brazilian music, and how playing certain percussion instruments and just the technique they use to play those instruments did a lot to that rhythmic feel. Just the way the hands work on some of these drums creates naturally in Brazil. My question is there an instrument or a technique or something that you can trace your local rhythmic feel to in the same way? Is there a path that you can describe of how this sound came to be?
You see, I can answer this question. I will try to answer your question. The pop music, the pop music, I think in many countries, in Tajikistan also, it has its roots in folk music, in traditional music. And it mainly comes from that, from some masters, from some legend of traditional music. And it comes from ethnic music, right? Like if you mean an example of Medina, also, there are also some connection to local folk music. And like we Palmyran have many unique traditional instruments, strings instruments. And they mainly played like many ethnic music, like in Africa, in a kind of, I don't know if it's in English also sounds the same, in rondo, kind of in a circle, like kind of trance music. When we play Pamiri strings instruments, they always like goes the same rhythm, you know, like African music. So, and it's taken from that. And for that, probably it's better. Hopefully, when you will get an opportunity, we look forward to that with lots of hope to come here one day, you know, for live performance. We can contact you with some local musicians of traditional music, folk music. I think that's the best way to go for research, to get some probably master classes, you know, to sit with them and to learn something from them. You can learn a lot of things from those masters of traditional music. So I think that's the best way to know more about that. You know, your question, how to learn it easy, right? So, and that way you can also then use it in the future in your music, you know, and make more richer your music. I myself learned from masters of traditional music some things that I use then later in my music that I create. It's rooted in folk music, you know, mainly in the Tamil we have some masters of mystic who sing mystic songs, some devotional songs. So and that's the best way to find out about this, to learn. So I don't know if you're satisfied with my answer. If I had an instrument, yeah, right now I would show you something, you know. With the rubab. We have instruments like rubab, you know, string instruments, tambours, and it's the best way to guitar de nabu. Guitar de nabu. No, not guitar. No, not guitar. Maybe I know. They have it's your tune. It's our opportunity to take time. Interesting guitar here. Yeah. But
it comes from nowhere, this guitar.
Somebody, maybe Rangina is playing it here. Some other guys.
Yeah, we have music also. We enjoy performing American songs. Yeah. Just adding to this poor guitar that we have, we are using this guitar to perform English language songs during our music clubs. So students come here to improve their English language through performing English language songs. So they are really good in music, but today, like, they are not ready. Next time we can have a live together, so we can play our music, then you can play your music, and we share experience from both. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Yes.
I have a quick question, kind of going off of what our current conversation is going. Is there recorded versions of anything that you know, some of these masters in either devotional or folk music from your region that you would suggest? It doesn't matter if there isn't. Recording music isn't necessarily what music is, but we would love to explore some of them if there are great recordings.
Oh, great, thank you. I think, yes, that's the best way. But for now, what I can suggest you, we have our page on Facebook, also festival page on YouTube. We put also some of our video on Instagram. You can visit our page on Facebook, on YouTube. And this year and in previous year too, we broadcast some of the concert of local masters like Ali Akbar. You can listen to Ali Akbar, who plays authentic traditional music, you know, and you will get ideas about this, what I was trying to say, the ronda kind of circle music, you know, circling, it's kind of close to African ethnic music also, you know, and that you probably also use, like in blues, you can hear kind of, you know, elements of music also in blues, and in trance music also. Visit the page and listen Ali Akbar, right? And also who is there also. There is another band, also they sing devotional songs, Vomar band, also folk group from Roshan. Try to listen, Navoy Vomar. Try to listen them also, very interesting band. And here in the Pamir, we usually, and these traditional singers, they use the text from Tajik and Persian classics from 10th to 13th century, mainly Sufi and mystic texts like Shams Tabrizi or Jalaluddin Rumi, maybe you have heard its name. And they use kind of text of some Sufi and mystic masters. So I think that would be really very interesting for you, you know, to explore that and to find something for your music too there. So I think. And also you can check on the chat that we have some, you know, information for you, you know. Well, you can check this and you can, you know, access those music that we just mentioned. Yeah, and we can send you if you want some MP3 files also. It's my pleasure, you know, to do this. We have lots of music, archive of music. So from even from 70s, we have some those legends of Pamiri music already passed, you know. We have kind of tracks also. So
thank you.
And there is one piece you will hear this Madonna. I hope you will visit our page and try to listen to Ali Akbar or to Navoy Vomar, and you will hear the beginning piece that we call Monajat. It's like purely improvised melodies, right? In Mado, you know. You will get some ideas. I'll be also myself curious to hear about this, you know. What was your feeling about that? Just to share some of your thoughts, and if you were thinking in the future to use that flow of energy that you will get from that, hopefully to use in your music, like this Monajat piece. It's kind of blues. Like for me, I can say this kind of blues, the Monajat piece, the first piece of this Mado, the mystical, the devotional performance. Okay.
Yeah, I look forward to listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I would like you know, thank you very much. We really enjoyed your, you know, your performances and your discussions, and thank for your time. You know, I know you have a great respect for time, but due to the, you know, electricity problem that we had. So, but we had a very interactive and very good discussion. I hope so for you as well. Thank you very much, guys, and hope to see you, all of you, next year in a live performance. Hope this pandemic will end up, you know, finally, but see you again on live, and we have more discussions on these issues. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you to all of you. It was great to see you virtually. I hope you all can stay safe and healthy. And it was wonderful to meet you over the internet. Hopefully we can do this in person soon. Thank you for listening to our music and sharing some of your music. This is wonderful. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.